Carnival might be known as the fun ship, but behind the smiling staff and tropical drinks, there's another side most passengers never see. If you've ever wondered what crew members actually say when the guests aren't listening, you're about to find out. We're digging into 11 brutally honest truths about Carnival Cruise Line, starting with the crew complaints that rarely leave the lower decks. From cleaning corners that get skipped to secret frustrations about tips and working conditions, this isn't fluff. It's what Carnival insiders wish you knew before you even booked. And yes, we'll also show you what Carnival surprisingly gets right. Let's dive in. You probably don't see it, but behind those cheerful greetings and constant smiles, many Carnival crew members are pushed to the brink. One former Carnival employee described their schedule as nonstop survival mode, working 12 to 14 hours a day for months without a single day off. Another crew member on Reddit revealed how they had just 6 hours of sleep in a 48-hour turnaround between cruises. And when an unexpected delay hits, they're expected to handle it with a smile. Why should this matter to you as a guest? Because the people who are cleaning your room, preparing your meals, entertaining your family, and solving your problems might be running on fumes. Tired workers mean slower service, more mistakes, and sometimes forgotten requests. The vibe on a ship isn't just created by its decor or entertainment, it's built by the energy of the crew. When they're burned out, you'll feel it, even if you don't realize why. Want to support them and make your cruise better at the same time? One tip: learn their names and be kind. It sounds simple, but it goes a long way. A thank you at the right moment means more than you think. And if someone really goes the extra mile, mention them by name in your post-cruise review. That can lead to a bonus. But what happens when that same overworked crew is also asked to cut corners? That brings us to one of Carnival's dirtiest secrets, literally. You might assume your cabin is deep cleaned before you walk through the door, but that's not always the case, especially on tight turnarounds. A former Carnival housekeeper anonymously revealed in a blog post that when ships are running behind schedule, cleaning gets rushed, fast. Sometimes we had just minutes to flip a room, they said, so we'd wipe visible surfaces and move on. No time for drawers, vents, or underbeds. Another passenger even uploaded a TikTok showing a pair of used socks they found in their supposedly fresh cabin, and it wasn't a one-time fluke. This matters because your room is where you rest, relax, and recharge. But if it's only clean on the surface, you could be exposing yourself to leftover germs, allergens, or worse. And it's not just cabins. In busy buffet areas, silverware might be reused, tables skipped, and high-touch spots left dirty. That cruise cough everyone jokes about? Sometimes it's not so funny when it hits hard or spreads fast. So what can you do? First, bring disinfectant wipes and do a quick sweep of high-touch areas, remote controls, handles, light switches. Second, always inspect your cabin on arrival. If it feels off, ask for a re-clean, politely but firmly. The squeaky wheel gets the scrub. And if you think the only threat is dust and fingerprints, just wait until you hear where some guests end up sleeping and why the location of your cabin can ruin your entire cruise. You booked a dream vacation, but by night 2, it sounds more like a construction zone than a cruise. Many Carnival guests, especially first-timers, unknowingly book cabins on the lower decks, thinking they've scored a deal. But what they don't realize is that these cabins are often located directly above the engine room, beneath nightclubs, or next to crew storage areas. One couple on the Carnival Horizon said it felt like someone was rolling barrels down the hallway at 2 a.m. Another cruiser compared their experience to trying to sleep inside a washing machine during turbulence. Here's the problem. Carnival ships are built for fun, not always for silence. And while the fun ship energy is great on the Lido deck, it's not so great when you're jolted awake by a bass drop or rattling machinery. The vibrations, loud footsteps, even service carts slamming into bulkheads. It all adds up. And if you're a light sleeper, forget it. You'll spend your vacation running on frustration. So what can you do? When booking, avoid cabins directly above or below high-traffic zones like theaters, clubs, or dining rooms. Look for midship rooms on middle decks, far from elevators or utility areas. If you can't choose your cabin, pack noise-canceling earbuds or a white noise machine. It can be the difference between restful nights and cranky mornings. But sleep isn't the only thing guests get blindsided by. Some passengers think they're helping the crew when they change this one setting, but it actually takes money out of their pockets. Most Carnival guests don't realize they're taking money away from the crew, and sometimes they do it without even knowing. Here's how it happens. When you book a Carnival cruise, your fare doesn't include gratuities by default. Instead, the cruise line automatically adds daily service tips to your onboard account, usually around $16 to $18 per person per day. Sounds fair, right? But what many passengers don't realize is that you can remove or adjust those tips at guest services with just a quick request. And hundreds of people do it. Some think they're tipping in cash instead. Others just don't understand who the money goes to. A former Carnival server posted in a travel forum saying, "We check every morning to see who removed their tips. It's depressing. You smile all day, carry heavy trays, clean up after kids, and then you get nothing at the end. The system is legal, but it's emotionally brutal." The default tips are split between room stewards, dining staff, and behind-the-scenes crew. When you opt out, you're not just saving money, you're cutting someone's paycheck. And even worse, some passengers don't mean to remove tips. They see a daily charge on their bill and ask guest services to take it off, thinking it's a hidden fee, not realizing it's the team's only reliable income. So here's what to do. Leave the auto gratuity in place unless you've truly received terrible service, which is rare. Want to give extra? Hand out cash personally to your steward or waiter. It'll mean more than you think. Carnival allows tipping, and most crew members live for that small gesture of appreciation. But money pressure isn't the only thing haunting the staff. Imagine being watched, judged, and rated all day, even in your private time. That's the next reality we're about to uncover. You've probably seen the smiles, the warm greetings, the enthusiastic towel animals. But what you don't see is the constant pressure that comes from being watched every second of the day. Many Carnival crew members live in a state of quiet anxiety, not just because of demanding guests or long shifts, but because they know that their every move is being monitored and evaluated. Carnival, like many modern cruise lines, runs a tight ship, and part of that means using internal surveillance, performance reviews, passenger surveys, and even secret shopper programs to measure how well the crew is doing. If your server forgets to ask about allergies or doesn't smile enough, that could cost them points. Enough low points, and they're off the ship. One former Carnival entertainment staffer shared online, "It's not just doing your job, it's doing it with perfect posture, a glowing smile, and energy like it's your first day, even when it's your 120th day straight without a break." That kind of pressure wears on you. Crew members have to be on even during meals, hallway encounters, or off hours, because one negative guest report can lead to a disciplinary write-up, or worse. Why does this matter for you, the guest? Because when the crew is forced to perform like robots, you don't get genuine service. You get forced cheerfulness. You can feel it, even if you can't explain it. It creates a fake hospitality vibe that leaves both sides exhausted. And for the staff, the emotional burnout is very real. Imagine working 12-hour days and still wondering, did I smile enough today to keep my job? If you want to change this dynamic, it starts with awareness. Be patient, be human. And if someone clearly looks like they're having a rough shift, offer a kind word instead of a complaint. It doesn't fix the system, but it can make a dent in someone's stress level. But stress takes many forms. And for Carnival crew members, few things stress them out more than one chaotic zone, the buffet. And it's not just about the food. To guests, the buffet is a paradise. Endless options, no dress code, grab what you want, when you want. But to many Carnival crew members, it's the part of the ship they dread the most. Behind that seemingly smooth operation is a daily struggle that wears the staff down, physically and emotionally. One former Carnival food service worker described the buffet as a chaotic, nonstop battlefield. From the moment the doors open, it's a tidal wave of trays, spills, special requests, and constant restocking. And unlike the main dining room, where service is paced, the buffet is pure demand all at once. Guests often pile food onto plates they never finish, leave trash on tables, and demand immediate refills of specific items. "People don't realize we're not machines," one crew member said. "If the bacon runs out, we're sprinting to the back to refill it. If the tongs are gone, we're washing them as fast as we can." And that's just the front of house. Behind the scenes, temperatures run high, both literally and emotionally. Slips, cuts, and verbal abuse from impatient guests are not uncommon. This constant grind doesn't just impact staff morale, it affects food quality, cleanliness, and overall guest experience. When crew are burned out, the attention to detail drops. That's when hygiene mistakes happen. A spoon lands on the floor, someone might put it back in a rush. A sneeze goes unchecked in the food line. That's how norovirus spreads. What can you do to help? For starters, be respectful and patient, especially during peak hours. Try not to overload your plate. You can always go back for seconds. And if you see a crew member hustling hard, a smile and a thank you go a long way. The buffet may feel like a free-for-all, but for the people working it, it's often the most exhausting part of their day. And once they're done cleaning up after the crowd, they still have to deal with another round of stress. In the place most guests feel most relaxed, your cabin. Your cabin steward is one of the most important people on the ship. They clean your room, make your bed, restock your towels, and somehow manage to leave a towel animal that makes your day. But even the friendliest stewards have limits, and some guests cross them without even realizing. One Carnival cabin steward shared in a Facebook group, "People think we're just invisible housekeepers, but we notice everything. And after months at sea, even small things start to wear them down." Like what exactly? Let's start with the classics. Leaving your cabin trashed, tossing wet towels on the carpet, or treating the steward like your personal butler. One crew member recalled a guest who rang their service button every 15 minutes for ice and then never touched it. But the worst offenses? Towel hoarding and do not disturb abuse. Some guests take extra towels from the pool, stash them in their rooms, and then act surprised when they get a fee for missing inventory. Others leave the do not disturb sign up the entire cruise, then complain the room wasn't cleaned. You can't win. Stewards have tight schedules, often cleaning 20 to 30 cabins per day. They rely on a rhythm, and when that rhythm is broken by inconsiderate guests, everything gets harder. That's when mistakes happen. Items go missing, sheets don't get changed, amenities run out. So how do you stay in your steward's good graces? It's simple. Be tidy, be respectful, and communicate. If you don't need service that day, leave a note or tell them directly. If you're happy with their work, tell them and tip them. Even $5 or $10 at the end of the trip can mean the world. And here's a bonus. Guests who treat their stewards well often get little perks in return, like extra towels, faster turndowns, or early access to clean rooms. Karma moves fast on cruise ships, but not all frustrations are caused by guests. Sometimes the cruise line itself creates confusion, especially when it comes to the so-called loyalty perks. And that brings us to one Carnival feature that's both loved and misunderstood. Carnival loves to promote its VIFP Club, the very important fun person loyalty program that promises freebies, perks, and status for repeat cruisers. And to be fair, many guests do enjoy the benefits. But here's the part Carnival doesn't always explain clearly. Those shiny perks don't always deliver what people expect, and it creates headaches for both passengers and crew. The VIFP program sounds simple on paper. The more you cruise, the more points you earn, and the more rewards you unlock. But in reality, many guests misunderstand what they're entitled to, or when they actually receive it. One guest shared how they expected priority boarding and upgraded rooms, only to find out their platinum status didn't kick in until their next sailing. Another thought their free drink voucher would be available anytime, only to discover it was valid only after 5 p.m. on the last night, when most bars are slammed and staff are exhausted. From the cruise perspective, this causes tension. Guests approach them demanding perks, early access, or VIP treatment based on their card color. And when the benefits don't show up, they blame the staff. "It's awkward," one Carnival bartender explained. "We're not trying to withhold anything. We're just following the fine print that no one reads." To make the most of the VIFP program, do this. Check your tier perks before your cruise and understand which ones apply mid-sailing versus after your trip ends. Download Carnival's app. It's the easiest way to see your benefits in real time. And if something seems off, ask guest services nicely instead of confronting frontline crew who don't control the system. That said, Carnival still gets credit for having one of the most generous entry-level loyalty programs in the cruise world. You can earn freebies with just one sailing, which is more than some luxury lines offer. And when it comes to creating fun on board, especially for first-time cruisers, Carnival's next strength actually comes from something the crew appreciates just as much as the guests: the vibe. For all the complaints and chaos, there's one thing that both guests and crew tend to agree on. Carnival knows how to throw a party. And that fun ship energy, it's not just a slogan, it's built into the DNA of the brand. Compared to other cruise lines, Carnival takes a more laid-back, let-your-hair-down approach to travel. There's no stiff dress code. You're not being judged for skipping formal night or bringing flip-flops to the buffet. It's loud, casual, energetic, and that's exactly what many people are looking for in a vacation. The cruise director is cracking jokes, the music's bumping by the pool, and yes, there's always some kind of contest happening somewhere, from hairy chess competitions to lip-sync battles that draw full crowds. But here's what makes it really work. The crew actually leans into it. One Carnival entertainer said, "Other lines treat us like cruise professionals. Carnival treats us like cruise rock stars." Staff are encouraged to dance, laugh, and genuinely have fun with the guests. The entertainment team isn't just performing, they're mingling at trivia, leading line dances, showing up to karaoke, and acting like guests themselves. This get-involved culture creates something rare, a ship where guests and crew actually blend, forming a more social, connected experience. For solo travelers or first-timers, that's a huge deal. It makes people feel comfortable faster. And it's part of why Carnival has so many repeat cruisers who don't even bother trying other brands because they know they're guaranteed a good time. Want to maximize that experience? Join a themed event, attend the sail-away party, and talk to the crew, especially the entertainment team. They're often your best source of real-time ship tips, hidden events, and late-night laughs. Carnival doesn't just entertain you, it invites you in. But even on a fun ship, real life still happens. And sometimes the brightest moments don't come from parties, they come from the smallest gestures. And in our final point, you'll hear about the kindness that happens when the spotlight's off. Amid the noise, the parties, the schedules, and the stress, something happens on Carnival ships that doesn't get posted on the website. It's not part of any official perk. It's not mentioned in the brochures. But ask almost any long-term crew member, and they'll tell you the same thing. It's the small, unexpected acts of kindness from guests that keep them going. One room steward shared a story about a family who noticed he was missing his usual energy by day 3. They didn't complain. They didn't go to guest services. Instead, they left him a handwritten note with a $5 bill and a line that simply said, "We see how hard you work. Thank you for making our week easier." He kept that note in his locker for the rest of the contract. Another crew member recalled a solo cruiser who brought a suitcase full of chocolates, not for themselves, but to hand out to random crew who looked tired. "They didn't have to do that," she said, "but it reminded me that not every guest sees us as just service staff. Some of them see us as people." These small moments, a kind word, a thank you card, a few extra bucks slipped discreetly at the end of the trip, mean more than most people will ever understand. They don't just brighten a day, they remind the crew that their effort matters, that their work isn't invisible. And for guests, those little gestures come back in ways you'd never expect. That steward who smiles extra wide the next morning, that bartender who remembers your name and drink order, that entertainer who gives you a shout out during trivia. It's all connected. Cruise ships are floating cities, but kindness travels fast in tight quarters. So the next time you sail with Carnival, or any cruise line, remember this: the best experience doesn't always come from a fancy upgrade or a 5-course meal. Sometimes it comes from being the kind of guest the crew actually remembers. Now that you've seen both sides of Carnival, the good, the bad, and the surprising, let's wrap this up and make sure your next cruise is your best yet. Thanks for watching. Now we want to hear from you. Have you cruised with Carnival before? Drop your experience in the comments. The good, the bad, or the downright weird. And if you want more cruise secrets like these, hit that subscribe button so you never board a ship unprepared again. Until next time, stay sharp and cruise smarter.